WWE and AEW possibly working together. I know it sounds crazy, but it does sound like it is possible. Also, on top of that, we are going to discuss a little bit of Battle of the Belts because AEW was met with criticism. I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents and tell you whether or not I think the criticism is fair. Also, ROH invades Impact Wrestling. What are the plans? Well, it sounds like we got some information around that as well. So if you guys want more news videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notified. I bring you these videos every single day, and I would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. So AEW Battle of the Belts was a 1-hour show, and it was met with a lot of criticism, largely due to the fact that plans were kind of shaken up a little bit. Now, if you take out the announcement, right, that Cody Rhodes, if you remove that from the equation, Cody Rhodes being in this match or being replaced in this match by Dustin Rhodes, I still think the criticism that they have received makes a lot of sense. A lot of people have the impression that Battle of the Belts felt like another episode of Rampage. The FTW Championship is very meaningless in AEW, which I can respect that opinion. The Women's Championship match was a great match, but the idea that Battle of the Belts didn't feel special to a lot of fans, I can understand that argument. And this is one of the things that I criticize WWE about. You know, their pay-per-views, their television shows, always having the same sets, the same design, the same look. It doesn't feel special when you have these special events, right? And AEW has fallen into that trap. Dynamite and Rampage do look the same. Then you have Battle of the Belts. It looks the same. It also turns out that Battle of the Belts was a house show for fans in attendance. So Hangman Page and all of the other champions were also in action, except for Cody Rhodes, obviously, due to the positive test. But essentially, AEW is being criticized because the show didn't feel special. And I can understand why people feel this way about AEW. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Battle of the Belts to me is just another content-driven focus for Warner Media, meaning it is just extra content for their library that they can continue building upon before they launch their streaming service. Now, with that being said, Kenny Omega has not handled the criticism very well, especially when it comes to the booking of the women's division. So we have seen Kenny Omega go on Twitter, and he has been very vocalish, is that even a word? He's been very vocal. He's been very vocal about the feedback and the negative criticisms, and these are just some of the things that are happening, right? And my belief is this: criticism is going to come no matter what. How you address the criticism tells this different story. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to get better and whatnot? And sometimes AEW is not good with handling criticism. We saw it with Tony Khan recently. Now we're seeing it with Kenny Omega on social media. My belief is that Battle of the Belts served its purpose. I think AEW knows what they need to do differently next time. Even if you remove Cody's news, it still wasn't a strong card. And I did prioritize Impact Wrestling over this. Speaking of Impact Wrestling, we do got to talk about ROH invading Impact. Right now, as it stands, the 5 individuals that did make their debut at Impact Wrestling are actually not currently signed to Ring of Honor. So Ring of Honor is currently under a hiatus. However, Impact Wrestling is positioning this as an invasion angle, which I've already said on video on the channel. I am absolutely all about it. Now, realistically, though, this doesn't mean Impact has signed these individuals. Now, what I truly believe will happen, and kind of what the major consensus is this: ROH likely won't do exclusive contracts going forward. However, the idea that Impact can kind of keep ROH afloat during their hiatus allows for Impact to do an invasion angle, and I think that would make a lot of sense for Impact as well, because it's another exciting storyline that nobody really saw coming. I did not see an invasion angle on the top of my list for 2022. Also, Impact Wrestling has not signed any of these people, but I do think we're going to see them for the next couple months. ROH will return in April 2022. So the good news is, like, this is a great storyline to keep things afloat. It's a great thing for Impact. My belief, if you can merge the two companies together, bring some of those roster members back, and now start doing like a super show between everybody on the roster, I think you have a very good, viable third promotion. Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill was a phenomenal pay-per-view, and I see a lot of people being negative about it, but they don't watch it. They didn't watch it. They didn't know the match. They didn't know the storylines. They didn't know the build. So your criticisms on a show that you don't watch don't necessarily work with me. And that's not just Impact Wrestling. If you're an AEW fan and you don't watch WWE, you can't really talk shit about WWE unless you watched it. And if you're a WWE fan watching AEW and you say Dynamite sucks, but you didn't watch it, you really can't talk about that. Your opinion doesn't matter. That is why I'm saying this, because I see a lot of people being critical in wrestling, but you're not watching it. Like, you guys think I can't like something because you don't like something. That's just weird. It doesn't make sense to me. But nonetheless, ROH, Impact Wrestling, they got something special here, and I'm all about it. What I'm also all about is the idea that WWE and AEW could be working together. In fact, Tony Khan has even confirmed that he's had conversations with them because there are some stuff that WWE wants to do with AEW in terms of documentaries, because WWE is obviously producing content for the WWE network. Now, what also just came out recently was the news that WWE has changed their policy on working with other companies in terms of their talent, which I think this is a fantastic policy change, because WWE is obviously bringing in the Knockouts Women's Champion, Mickie James, who just had an incredible main event against Deonna Purrazzo from Impact Wrestling. So now there is this belief that WWE is willing to work with talent from other companies on their programming if it makes sense. So here's the thing. Obviously, it has to make sense. I'm not saying throw Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns in the ring and just do it. It doesn't make sense. However, with Tony Khan even seemingly confirming that they're in talks, and he says good things about WWE while having these conversations, first it starts off with talent share for documentaries, maybe the Broken Skull sessions and WWE network content. Just like how WWE and Impact could be doing a one-off with Mickie James, the door opens. And it slowly allows more opportunities, and the idea that maybe WWE and AEW even remotely do anything storyline-wise with wrestlers is just incredible, because that's not really ever been on the table, and now it is. So that's my point. But the good news is, I think this right here shows that WWE, if it makes sense business-wise, they're willing to do certain things, and who knows what's next. You got Moose, the Impact World Champion, calling out Roman Reigns, and I think there's just a lot of cool stuff, but I understand your criticisms too. I know some people have said in the comments before, do you really trust Vince McMahon? And to be honest with you, I don't know how to answer that, because it is 2022. It's a different time period. But also at the same time too, if you're AEW and you're WWE, how do you book Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega and come up with a solution that makes everybody happy? If you're WWE, you wouldn't want Roman Reigns losing. And if you're Tony Khan, you wouldn't want Kenny Omega losing. But at the same time, too, I think that's where the issue is when it comes to booking talent. That doesn't mean you can't utilize talent for other projects. And, Kenny Omega not being in WWE, there's history with WWE and Kenny Omega and OVW, Maybe you bring in Kenny Omega for WWE Network documentary. I don't know. You never know. That's my point. WWE has a lot of avenues. I'm very curious to see what happens. I want to know what you guys think. Don't forget, Ango Plays. We are just over 400 subscribers now at the time of this video. It's my new channel for AEW video games, WWE 2K22, retro video games, all that good stuff. So if you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and click subscribe to that. The link will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.